And here is a brief overview of Unit 3 Learning Strategies. In Unit 3, in the overview, what you'll find is, of course, the welcome to Unit 3 and the learning strategies and critical thinking. And of course, you'll have the general course outcomes from the syllabus, and then the specific learning outcomes. In the Engage and Learn section, what you have, and I want you to consider the Engage and Learn section where you'll find the teaching material that you'll need. Later on in the course, I'm going to go into the skip downing on Coursebook to kind of link some of the units with some activities from the skip downing book. So here you'll notice that they discuss teaching styles, which I think is very interesting. And and they go down to talk about different types of styles. Then the learning process and the stages of learning. There's a video on the learning process and identifying learning preferences. And this is where we begin to talk about the VAC or the VARC, depending on which one you prefer to use. And then defining multimodal learning. And as you may know, multimodal learning means if you've taken the VAC test and you tend to, these numbers, your answers come in very closely. Let's say that your score is 7 in visual, 7 in auditory, and 6 in kinesthetic, you'd be considered to be multimodal. And so that's what this description is about. There's a video on learning styles, and then there's an activity that you can use, and more. This is the one that I tend to use on personality types. You certainly don't have to use all of them. You can choose one video, you can choose two to use in your class activities, whichever you prefer. Next is the discussion. And here is where we use the learning styles, the VARC itself, to ascertain the students' learning styles. And we use the free Myers-Briggs or the free Young typology to determine the learning style and the personality types of the students in your course. I think once you've ascertained that, you'll know if you have a bunch of introverts or extroverts in your course. You'll know if the students in your course are visual, auditory, read, write, or kinesthetic. And then you can tailor your course accordingly based on the scores that you find in your in your students. Then we have these little scenarios that are built in. They're just very simple scenarios. As you notice, sometimes it takes a little while for these things to load. And this is kind of a cute little scenario building opportunity for students to see a student who needs to go to academic advising, and then they're just asked a question about it. And for that, it's a completion grade right here. If they've completed it, then they've done the work with that. That concludes Unit 3.